Good morning, happy day 45. So this morning we had a lot of tasks, things that we've done this weekend, but what we're gonna focus on this morning is the installation of the butcher block top that's going in the center island. Before we do that, we have to do a little bit of prep work before we just zoom on in there. So what Doug did, and really quick just to show you, so this was the original platform that the Formica sat on. We are going to remove that, which he's already kind of pulled the screws out and popped this off. And Doug, why do we want to take this off instead of just putting the butcher block right on?
When you look on the side, the butcher block is completely flat. And so what will happen is if we set it straight on top, you're going to see all this. So we want it to sit directly on top of the cabinets and the drywall. We've got a 2x6 there that it'll sit right on top of. So we'll take the butcher block, we'll set it on top. There's a couple of these corner pieces with the through holes, and we're going to run some screws up from the bottom. The butcher block is so heavy that it's not going to move a lot on its own, and so you only need a couple of screws in place to keep it from shifting around. So we don't have to run a ton of screws. We're just going to put one in each corner of the cabinet, and that should be enough to hold it.
Okay, and so when you say run the screws, you mean right through the pre-drilled hole that the manufacturer already has?
Yep.
Okay, and so you're coming up from the bottom, so how exactly do you do that?
Well, you got to get into the cabinets and you know, run the drill. The head of the screw is going to come up from the bottom here. You're going to run it up, and you want to make sure that the screw isn't too long that it's going to go through the entire butcher block and puncture a hole on the top. So we're going to do a quick measurement, get some screws that are just enough to penetrate the butcher block, and as I said, run them in from the bottom. Okay,
and then last question, what do you do if it's sitting here but there's a little bit of a gap here? Well, how are we going to compensate for that?
You'd shim it, you'd put some shims in, so we'll see how it sits up. When I was measuring it before, it is level, and so I'm not expecting that we're going to have to do too much, but if we feel like it's necessary, we can throw a couple of shims underneath.
Awesome. Another important piece to have, shims lying around. So, okay, we will update once we get this on and drilled. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go in and we're going to attach the butcher block now. What I'm going to do, because it's a solid piece of wood, I'm going to drill a pilot hole. Of course, you need to be careful. You don't want to go all the way through the wood. The bracket that I've got stops about here, and so I'm just going to get in enough of the wood to penetrate and create a pilot for the screw to grab into. All right, this is the fun part. We got to get into the corner. And there is a hole on this bracket. You're going to have a tough time seeing it, but luckily I can see it with this flashlight. Okay, that's what we're looking for there. And now I just got to get the drill and we'll run the screw. Again, we're not looking to put a ton of screws into this. You don't need to. It's a heavy piece of wood. We're just needing to make sure that it doesn't go side to side. That's what we're looking for. She's in. Now, when you work with wood, especially when it's this type of wood, it's never flat. And so what you're gonna see us do now is we have to go around, and you'll see the spot that I tacked in was flat, and we're gonna do our best on the fronts, but you're gonna have a gap here. And so after we get the butcher block in, I'm gonna come through and we're gonna have to put some trim to make it look really nice across the top and then on the other side too. And that'll give it a nice finished look and it'll make it look flat. What do you think, Linz?
I'm in, dude.
All right. Hey, so I had to run to the store because the butcher block was so bowed and warped. Even when I leaned on it with those 4 screws, it was rocking around. So what I ended up doing was getting these L brackets. You can see I've put them at the top there. And so I've got 4 of them, 2 on each side and then 2 in the back. I use the ones in the back because there's a wall back there, so I could go into a stud and mount those into the stud. I went on the sides here because I wanted to be extra careful about damaging this face. So instead of putting them on this face here, I put them on the sides. And again, it pinned it down, and you can see I've got 3 screws going vertically and 3 horizontally, vertically, to pin down each joint location. And now it doesn't rock at all. So a little more work than I was expecting and than you usually have to do with countertop, but this is real wood and it warps, and so you got to deal with it. And so this is the way we dealt with it, and it's pretty sturdy now and doesn't rock when you lean on it, which is what my main concern was before, was the rocking. So all set, ready to sand and stain.
And now next step is going to be sanding it, because this is bare and it hasn't been conditioned or stained or anything. So we're going to be sanding it here real quick with the 180 grit sandpaper, and then wiping it down, getting the dust off, and then adding the wood conditioner. So, and then Doug, also when he was out, he got the trim and stuff to put underneath to finish it off and make it look all pretty. So, Stay tuned.
Here's Lindsay sanding. This is with 150 grit sandpaper. It had a pretty nice finish to start, so you don't want to get it too coarse to start with. So 150 is enough to start roughing it up, and then so that'll give you your first surface. And then she's going to come in with conditioner after, and then use 220 to finish it off before she goes after the tongue oil. So this right here is just the 150 grit to get us started.